In this lesson, we will be discussing graphing slope-intercept form. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to graph linear equations in slope-intercept form and model real-world data with a graph. So, what is domain? Domain is our independent, right? It's the x-axis. What is the slope? That's how steep our line is. And the range, that's the y, which is a dependent variable. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The m is our slope. The slope tells us how we're going to move. The b is our y-intercept. That tells us where we begin graphing. From a graph, we can see the y-intercept is right here, and we can find the slope by counting up and over. In a table, we find the slope by looking at the change in y over the change in x, and our intercept is when x is 0. In our word problems, the slope is the one that's that's like the cost per pound, or the price per person, or the monthly fee, something that keeps happening over and over. And our y-intercept is that one-time charge, that setup cost, that beginning amount. Okay, that's something we start with. Key features of a linear graph: we need to know the domain and range. So our domain is all of the x values that our graph will use, and our range is all of the y values that our graph will need. The slope is the steepness of the line. So to graph an equation, you can do it from a table. So typically we plug in our values -2, -1, 1, and 0, 1, and 2. That way we can see both sides of our graph, positive and negative x values. We can use direct variation, which means you start at 0, 0, and then use your slope to know what direction you're going and how much. And then you have our third one, which is slope-intercept form, which means we start at our b value and then move according to our slope. So some examples. So identify the key functions of this graph. So in this particular one, our domain goes from here to here. So we would write the domain as 0, including 0, to 4, including 4. Our range goes from 0 to 20. So we would write the range 0, including 0, to 20, including 20. Our x-intercept is where it crosses the x, so that, written in parentheses, is 4, 0. Our y-intercept is up here where it crosses y, that's 0, 20. And our slope, we can calculate by taking any 2 points, and I'm going to see that it's negative, first of all, and then it's going from, if I go from here to here, it's going from 15 down to 10, so that would be -5, and going over 1, so my slope is -5. Graph the following using the given information and describe the key features. John is filling a trough with water, and the trough has a depth of 2 feet. Okay, so that's telling us our range can only go up to 2 feet, because that's the depth of it. So I can see from my table here that I don't have the 2 feet, so I know it goes up to there, so I'm counting these and using my slope to figure that out. All right, so my domain, I can also go backwards here to 0, 0. So my domain, the time, starts at 0 and goes to 16 seconds. So 0, including 0, to 16 seconds. My range, that's how deep it is, that is going from 0 to 24 inches. Because it only holds 2 feet. My x-intercept is 0, 0, and my y-intercept is 0, 0. My slope, this is going up by 3, and this is going up by 2. So my slope is 3/2. Graph the following using the information to describe the key features. Okay, a line has a slope of -2/3 and passes through the point -3/4. So if I'm starting at -3/4 here, and my slope is -2/3, that's down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. And it's a function, so it keeps going. So my domain is going to be all real numbers. Because the graph, I have nothing that's telling it that it's stopping. There's no constraints like there was in the last problem. My range is also all real numbers. My x-intercept, which is right here, is 3, 0. And my y-intercept, which is right here, is 0, 2. And my slope is -2/3. Graph the following using the given information and describe the key features. So in this one, I'm going to begin at +6. And this tells me my slope is -3. So that means down 3, right 1. Down 3, right 1. Down 3, right 1. So my domain, again, is going to be all real numbers. My range, again, is all real numbers. My x-intercept, right here, is 2, 0. And my y-intercept is 0, 6. And the slope is -3. So, from these equations, can we figure out where we begin and how to move? So in this first one, it's y equals 3x minus 4. That means we begin at -4, and we move up 3, right 1, or down 3, left 1. And the next one, we begin at 1, and we move up 5, left 1, or down 5, right 1. In this next one, we begin at -8, and move up 1, right 2, or down 1, left 2. In this fourth one, the yellow one, we're going to start at 7 and move up 2, left 3, or down 2, right 3. In this next one, we begin at 0, 0, and we move up 1, right 4, or down 1, left 4. And this one is a fraction, so we can't, it's a decimal, and we have to have it as a fraction in order to graph it. So we know that 0.25 is 1/4, so we begin at 0 and move up 1, right 4, or down 1, left 4. What is the x-intercept? That's when our line crosses the x-axis and y equals 0. The y-intercept is where it intersects the y-axis and when x is 0.